Summer is around the corner, meaning you don't have long enough to get the body that you want, which is why in this video I'm going to explain a process called aggressive cutting. This process will get you absolutely shredded, but there are pros and cons, which is why in this video I'm going to highlight all the positive side effects and the negative side effects and ensure that we can avoid or minimize all the negative side effects to make sure this is the smoothest process in the most healthy way possible to generate the best possible results. There are exactly 3 incredibly important aspects that you need to follow and get right to ensure you have a successful aggressive cut. Before we dive into the video, if you are someone who's serious about transforming their physique and just requires personalized guidance to ensure you get to that goal, you can apply for my one-to-one tailored coaching where I work directly with you and make your transformation not just your priority but also mine to ensure you get your dream physique in a set time frame. It's the first link in the description if you are someone who wants to get started as soon as possible. First and foremost, you have to take a real and honest look at your current physique and determine if you will get the results you're looking for at the end of the aggressive cut. Yeah, the benefits sound great in terms of you'll be getting lean incredibly quick, muscle definition pops like crazy, your jawline will be insanely sharp, and it sets you up for a solid foundation to start your lean bulk when you decide you want to pack on that additional muscle mass. But here's the other side of aggressive cutting that people don't generally talk about. The main one being you risk losing a ton of muscle in the process, especially if your training and protein intake is not dialed into what your body normally requires on a day-to-day basis. Not to mention you'll probably have a lot lower energy than usual and your workouts will absolutely suck. Another factor is the hormonal drop. Your testosterone levels begin to decrease, your thyroid function deteriorates a little bit, and don't forget the mood swings. Being hungry will be the norm when you're on an aggressive cut, so being angry comes with that. So ask yourself the major questions before you begin this cut. Do you really need to do it? How much fat do you really need to lose in what time frame? Are you okay with losing a bit of strength and muscle mass? If you're set on this and the pros outweigh the cons, then here's exactly how to aggressive cut the most healthy way possible. Okay, so let's start with calories, the foundation of your aggressive cut, possibly the most important part that you have to monitor very closely. The deficit itself has to be around 35% from your maintenance. Remember, this is an aggressive cut, not the generic normal cut where you would do around 10 to 15 to 20%. Now let's use an example to make it a little easier to understand. Let's say you're someone who's 90 kg and your maintenance calories are around 2,970 calories. If you were to drop below 35% from that maintenance range, you will end up at 1,930 calories. That would be your aggressive cut calories. It doesn't sound like a lot at all, but then again, that's the whole point. It's an aggressive cut. If you have the next 3 principles I'm about to talk about locked in, then this calorie range will not affect you negatively whatsoever. Or if anything, it will minimize any side effects that come from the aggressive cutting, because there are side effects, that's imminent, but we have to try our best to minimize them as much as possible. So here are the 3 principles you have to be dialed in with. First and foremost, the most important one in my opinion to ensure we get the best results is a high protein intake. Eating in a 35% caloric deficit from your maintenance is very tough, meaning you have to be very smart about what you eat, and all these foods that you eat have to be lean. When you're aggressive cutting, your body will look for energy wherever it can find it, including your hard-earned muscle that you've earned over the past few years. So if you don't want to be that guy that loses all his hard-earned muscle, absolutely prioritize your protein intake. And how do you do this? By simply eating 2.2 grams to 2.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. Protein doesn't just help you preserve muscle, it also helps you feel full throughout the day and burns even more calories during digestion. So it's a win-win situation, because when you're on this aggressive cut, appetite suppressants are very important, and protein being one is very convenient. You should aim to eat around 25 to 40 grams of protein per meal, although scientists argue you can eat as much protein as you want at any point in the day, so it doesn't really matter. Sources differ on this topic. However, I would recommend you distribute it throughout the day, so that way you can feel full throughout the day, because aggressive cutting will leave you very hungry. Your main sources of food should be lean meats, eggs, protein shakes, just clean foods that are very high in protein and low in calories. These foods do sound incredibly boring, and they are, but I promise you the results are worth it. It's a risky and boring process, but the results definitely make up for the suffering. The second principle I want to discuss, and I feel is equally as important, is heavy resistance training. Aggressive cutting doesn't just mean you let go of the heavy weights and start doing light weights and high reps. That's a big mistake. You still have to stick to your heavy compound movements consisting of bench press, squats, rows, deadlifts. These are incredibly important in the around 8 to 10 rep range to ensure that you're still lifting heavy weights. This sends a clear message to your body that your body still requires this muscle mass. Even though the caloric deficit is so large, you have to make your body believe that yes, we still require this excessive muscle mass and cling onto it. Naturally, you'll have less energy and more fatigue, but do not let this get into your head. Ensure that you are trying your absolute best to still lift the heavy weights, and obviously maintain that consistency that you were doing prior to your aggressive cut. Because one thing I want to emphasize is this process isn't just about losing weight, it's about preserving as much muscle as you can and losing the fat, or you'll end up in a position where you've just finished your aggressive cut and you're going to be incredibly small and skinny and essentially have wasted your time, because you will have to spend so much time building that muscle back up again. Whereas if you had done it correctly in the first place, you will still have that muscle mass at the end of your aggressive cut, and your end product physique will be a lot better than what it would have been. Third principle is recovery. When aggressive cutting, recovery is incredibly important. It's such a delicate process that if you're not recovering properly, it can impact your hormonal balances, your fatigue levels, your overall energy in such a negative way. It can be drastic. A lot of people overlook the aspect of recovery during an aggressive cut, but you have to be realistic and look at your circumstance. You're on such a large caloric deficit. Your body is under stress from all the intense training you're doing on this large caloric deficit, meaning if you're not sleeping at least 8 to 9 hours a day, you will feel incredibly tired throughout the day, and it will impact your day-to-day conversations with people, your day-to-day interactions, your day-to-day schedule. So it's very important to prioritize recovery. The main things I'm talking about when I say recovery is prioritizing sleep, prioritizing rest days, managing stress, and utilizing supplements to ensure you're still getting all the nutrients that your body requires on a day-to-day basis. Another thing I wanted to brush over and highlight was cardio. It's important to do cardio every now and then, but do not let it dominate your routine whilst you're on aggressive cut. Cardio can help create an even bigger caloric deficit. If you've had a bad day on your diet, for example, you can do some cardio to be on the same consistent deficit that you were on the previous day. It's good for heart health. There's so many benefits of cardio. But if you're on a very low deficit on the day and you do excessive amounts of cardio, it's definitely going to have a big toll on your energy, fatigue, and your performance in the gym when it comes to working out and lifting heavy weights. The cardio recommended on an aggressive cut is things like incline walk, low levels on the elliptical and stairmaster. Nothing too intense to overload your body from all the stress it's already under. Keep it short and sparing. The goal is fat loss, not a complete burnout. Essentially what I'm trying to say is use cardio as a tool to kind of speed up the process, or when you've had a bad day dieting. Those are the 3 most essential components of an aggressive cut that, if followed correctly, you will get the most efficient and best results out of your aggressive cut. You have to prioritize these 3 components just to ensure that you don't get the negative side effects that arise from aggressive cutting, because there are numerous that I've listed in the video, and even more minor side effects that only affect some people. So to do this in the most healthy way possible, ensure that you follow these 3 components and absolutely prioritize them. That brings us to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you are someone who requires tailored programs to follow this process the most efficient way possible, check out shanishred.com for my full programs alongside the coaching. If you are someone who requires guidance through the process, where your transformation is not just your priority but also mine. So if you are interested, it will be the first link in the bio. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.